responsive to is that the only way to really make money from owning land in Rhode Island, one of the main ways, is to sell the land, hold the asset, wait for a hot real estate market, and sell it. And that what we've lost track of is that given a degree of freedom, human ingenuity to figure out how to make economic uses of property that enables people to stay put on the property and to use it in ways that generate income. If you were to say, here's an investment, you get zero return on it during your lifetime, or until you sell it, and then you get a windfall. You say, well, that's interesting. What many people want to do, and it's an emerging phenomenon, is that they want to do misuse. They want to have some commercial use in residential areas as long as it doesn't interfere with other residents. Now it's increasingly allowed in the local zoning. And those things are healthy trends. But there was a fascinating op-ed in the New York Times about a week ago. And it was by Harvard Forest, Brian Donahue, a scholar out of Brandeis, and it was talking about the use of wood as a way to sequester carbon. And it said we can preserve forest land, at the same time we're having an increase of wood products industry. And you can do those things simultaneously. And we haven't thought that through yet in Rhode Island. But it would make a lot of sense to do that kind of thing.
That's interesting. I hadn't quite thought about it. If you build a building using wood timbers more than steel or cement, then for 100 years, whatever the lifespan of that building is, you've sequestered that carbon.
Absolutely.
And wood furniture as opposed to plastic laminate furniture or even composite.
Yes, and so
And then you can plant the trees to replace all that wood.
And that's
Or
right.
throw that out of the
It's the
sky.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, and the young forest, because it's growing more rapidly, does more sequestration than an old mature forest.
All right, so how about plastic bags versus paper bags? I know that's kind of
That's not something I have subject matter expertise.
No, I understand it. But I think it's consistent with what
Yeah.
you're saying that a paper bag is carbon sequestration, is it?
Yeah.
No, because those things rot fast enough that it goes back in the air. But plastic bags are always made out of oil. So,
Right, so that's not-
not a good. But and it's really, the choice really isn't paper or plastic. It's bags that you will keep using, or bags that you will throw away.
Sorry.
Or, and recycling is the same as
It
throwing
just
away.
occurred to me that paper is a wood product.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
so five non-perishable wood products that make
Not perishable, right?
more use of them. And the question is, and this is a practical one, what kind of sawmill would be necessary for Rhode Island to do that?
Interesting.
What kind of infrastructure? You can't expect the homeowner or the lot owner to figure out the infrastructure. You need other people to figure out that infrastructure and put it in place. We've had a resurgence of small-scale agriculture because a farmer stands in farmers' markets. The farmers' markets was something that a group of people put into, and then the farmers came. And now it's a highly popular thing found throughout Rhode Island. And Rhode Island has 31 times the density of sales direct to consumers than the national average. Because we have this vibrant system of farm stands and farmers' markets. And people love them. And so that's the kind of thing that when Ray goes out of town, he doesn't mention. And why I come here is because I know beneath this terroristic thing, and that means carry out there and do it what he does, there's this other wireless system of thought going on that is sensitive to the ecology and wants to see this other type of activity taking place. And that's why I don't want to say to be a sea anchor for him when he was here, but something along that said, yeah, there's a lot to what is in Ray's writing that needs that thoughtful attention and not his blistering assault on what he doesn't like. There's more to Ray's thought than that.
Look, the issue of wood is a real interesting one because I lived in places where there's, massive amounts of forest. And the infrastructure is not only the big mills, but it's also, the jobber who can, take out 10 trees off your land and then get it sawn up and get you back the lumber. That's the part that we miss. We miss that intermediate, like small scale, small sawmill, the small scale, wood, furniture maker. We do some of that as artisan stuff, but we don't really do it as craft and as business enough. One of the things that goes on in this country is where we lose farmers. And once you start losing farmers, you start losing like tractor dealers. And once you lose the tractor dealers, the farmers have a hard time staying in business because they can't fix their machinery. And everybody who's worked around farm machinery knows it breaks all the time. And put a lot of stress in a break. You need to be able to go downtown for, at lunchtime and grab some parts out of the parts place and come back and fix your tractor and work the rest of the day. And we're losing that kind of stuff in many parts of the country. And Rhode Island is notorious. I've been noticing they've got these new stores, the tractor stores. I don't know exactly. But, and that's people who figured out there's a niche for that. I don't know whether they really have the equipment that farmers use. Maybe they're more selling to homeowners. But, that infrastructure is critical.
By the way, there are at least 4 portable sawmills out there. A couple in northern Rhode Island, a couple in southern Rhode Island.
Right.
That will come to your home.
Right.
Right.
I knew there was at least a couple,
down,
but
make lumber.
Yeah.
I've used one. I've had that done.
Yeah.
I have. So I wanted to put up a little cabin so that when people are visiting and we just want to escape, we can go to it. So I got in, I have a portable sawmill, and he did it, and the lumber was no more than I would have had to pay for it if I went out.
I think they generally make the lumber full dimension.
Right.
So a 2x4 is 2 inches.
Is it
4
2
inches.
by
That's
4?
right.
And then you might run it through a planer if you really need to, but you don't need to.
And so, board and batten, nice thick planks, nice thing to do. And so, yeah, you can do that. And
So Ken, you worked at the state legislature?
I was for 10 years the chief policy advisor to the Rhode Island Senate.
So it would seem to me that the Senate, the state legislature, would be the place where they would have to be encouraged to incentivize these small lumber producers. Furniture is a good example. It comes from 1,000 miles away. It's got all kinds of plastics and stuff. If it could be produced in Rhode Island with Rhode Island lumber, to some extent.
The thing is, though, is Rhode Island is a small enough, dense enough place that we could not produce all the furniture we need from Rhode Island.
No, well, we could transition a little bit.
We could transition some, and
And that's, but even if we're producing a nice fraction, that's better than nothing.
yeah.
And that I know it's popular to malign the General Assembly. I know that's I don't do that. I know that a lot of pollution come out of there, and that even people who sometimes get in trouble, it's because of human frailty, and not because there's something inherently wrong with the institution. And so that the thing to do is to make good use of that process, to not be so cynical about it that you decide that you aren't going to let good people to it, and that and so that I loved my job there. I had a wonderful decade-long period, and I left not because I was out of favor, but because it's very stressful, and I wanted to do other things with my time as well. So the educational part of it is deeply important, and that we can't have an electorate that is participating in what I call hedonic cynicism. They say, well, we don't know what we're going to do about climate change, so we won't do anything, and let's have a good time today, and let's try to live in the moment as best we can. And the result is that there's too much short-termism in our thinking, and that makes it easily prey to the siren songs of neoliberalism. And what we need to do is to show that the potential for hopefulness is there, that we can have another world, and that the period from 1953 to 1973, that was when modern America was essentially put in place. And interstate highways and all those sorts of things were put in place. And then they said, okay, now how can we melt that system that was just put in place? And that was the neoliberal thing that followed. And now we've played out that hand, and we have to say, what's going to happen afterwards? And that Ray's criticism of that play out, what he has in his paper is accurate. It's a good criticism. And what he offers as an alternative has validity to it. And it doesn't mean that that everyone who's in the system currently is evil. What we do have to recognize is that representative democracy is people following. And if the people don't take their own condition to heart and have optimism about the future, the political establishment is unlikely to reflect that optimism. And so that we have to do that quiet work of being hopeful. And that's where my head is at. I worked with people in the General Assembly, and I largely found it wonderful. I don't bash them. I think it's a wonderful thing, and what we have to do is get real with ourselves.
If you don't mind, follow up. Lobbying seems to have an effect on governance. Right?
Yeah, my office was like the den of an aircraft carrier.